Alright guys, we're finally doing some fog lights on the Raptor. We got some really nice DOT approved, so these can be used when you drive on the road. That was really important to me. I don't want to spend all this money on these fog lights that I basically can't use. So rigid, insanely well built, and I already have a blood hand here because I've attempted to put one set on the other side just to make sure it will work. So we got the amber color, and I'll put links in the descriptions for everything. So debatably better at fog light or foggy situations. And then these, which are the traditional like white clear. These are not cheap. They're pretty expensive for like pod lights, but they're the best and they shouldn't wear out. And from handling the other side, they're really well built. So for what that's worth, I think you're gonna wanna go with road legal or DOT approved, whatever, just so you can actually use them. It's a lot of money to just only turn them on when you're, you know, off-road or when no one's around. And I do a lot of street driving, so these will make a lot of sense. I also have brackets for them. I'll put a link in the description, Baja Design. I put it on the truck already because I just wanted to make sure it fit. And then the last thing, I paid like 60 or 80 bucks for a harness, which is specially made to plug into these lights right here. So you guys can hopefully see that this will be like a very OEM style installation. All right, so you're gonna wanna use the brackets they come with, of course, and I'll show you, they can mount different ways, and I'm gonna show you this because I messed this up the first time. They look like you would do this. You'd put the bolts in, and then that is, I believe, probably a very standard way of mounting them, but they don't fit because this hangs down too far. So instead of doing it this way, you're gonna want to mount them this way, and you'll see this metal piece, hopefully you can see that, this metal piece only sticks up a little bit as opposed to if you were to mount it the other way around, which I thought I was gonna do. That's what I would have done. This hangs down too far and it smacks into the metal on the bumper, so it doesn't fit. So you have to make sure you go like this. The other thing, since we're mounting them, you know, technically it's upside down, this logo's upside down, and for someone like me, that's not okay. So all you have to do is take off these 6 little Allens and then flip this upside down. Pretty easy change to make sure the logo is going the right way. All right, so just lift it and flip that around. All right, I almost put it back without forgetting to also, if you look, it says DOT SAE on this cover here. At the very top, it's upside down. So I also am going to flip this. It's a very small detail, but if we're flipping it all around, we might as well just flip them all together. And then I'll do the same thing on this one as well. Next step, put the bracket on. And of course I mentioned you wanna put it on this lower option right there. And so you have to drop this nut in here. It's a little tricky, but I'm gonna try to show you both these sections here. You drop it in and then the bolt goes through there. So it's a little tricky. Once you get this piece here, then you can try to thread that through and it should catch. And then just grab an Allen key, tighten it down to pretty snug, but not fully snug, so you can adjust it once it's on the truck. I'm really gonna go I'm gonna go like 90%, because once it's on, it's a really tight space. So if I can push this with my hand, I'll be able to push it when it's on the truck. So I'm just gonna do a little bit on that. And so same thing, put the bracket on this light. Okay, so you can probably tell this bolt, which is squared off, so it goes through here. A little tricky, but you can get it. Kind of pull it through. You'll put this at the bottom of the bracket, through the bracket, and then on top you'll put this piece, that one, and then tighten it down. Ideally you'll do this on the bracket before you put the bracket on the truck, because it's really tight and hard to screw them down. But I already put my bracket on. I messed up. But you guys will be able to see what it's like putting it on while the bracket's on the truck. So let's run over the truck here and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so this is the passenger side, obviously, and I decided to go with the orange on the inside and the white on the out. And they are tightened down, but not all the way. So this is what it'll look like basically when it's done, minus some minor adjustments. So you'll see this actually does clear the bumper with the way I put the brackets in, and then there is a little bit of space between the two lights, which is good. On these brackets, you can see that this has some play. And so on the outer light, I have it adjusted kind of on the edge just to push the light out a little. And then on the light, the other light, I kind of have it in the middle. So you guys will have a little bit of play to decide how that fits in there. That actually works really nice. I maybe wish I had a little more option, but that's actually really nice to have. All right, so I'll show you what the bracket looks like on the truck. You have this circular part. You can't even see it. This rounded part that sticks out. And then if you lay down and face the front. All right, so hopefully you guys can kind of see this is the driver's side, obviously. You'll put the bolt through. These are 13 millimeters. And then one really tough part is right here. There's a little plastic like cover for like part of the running lights and headlights. And I kind of jammed it with my screwdriver because honestly I was getting frustrated, but I was pushing this because it was in the way of this bolt. So you have to kind of hold this out of the way as you screw it in. There's a spacer that you put between this bracket and the truck just to push the bracket out. See, there's a silver spacer between it. When you guys get the kit, you'll be able to tell. I'd show you, but I'm not unscrewing this for like the third time. So we're gonna leave this on the truck and see how it goes. You're not gonna be able to see this, but so you guys will be able to see. You can slide it around a little bit. Now that you've got the bolts through and hand tightened, see how you can move these around. You're going to want to grab your wrench, your socket, and get them very tight, but not all the way tight. And this is the worst part, and this is why you should have them tightened down, because it's like one click, so it takes forever. If I had some nicer tools, it wouldn't be so annoying. General idea of what they'll look like. Of course, lots of adjustments we can make to make sure they're aimed correctly. All right, next step, we got the harness here. So the long part, like this part, goes driver's side, and then this part will go to the switches, which are inside, but they actually have a little tie-in in the glove box and in the engine compartment. So you'll see that this harness is not exactly the same on both sides, so pay attention. The side that's closest with this piece goes on the passenger side, and then what I'm going to do, since I have amber and then clear. I'm just gonna do like the yellow will be the one I plug into the amber just so it's easy to remember. I guess it's not really not the end of the world, but that's just what I'm planning on doing. So we'll plug these in and I'm gonna run them underneath here real nice. So I'm gonna try to run it in a section that already has some other things in it. So we're gonna try to do that. All right, let me just give you a quick glance how I tied up the wires. You'll see they loop. We go over this whatever frame and then we go, I can't see shit with this. So it loops over the frame. I zip tied it. So this is the new one. I zip tied it to this existing harness, drop it down, and then you'll see this is an existing one. I just zip tied it right behind this little oil drip thing for when you change the oil. And then I just zip tied it against the other harness that goes all the way down there, and then up we go. All right, everybody, now that we've got our wiring ran, what's cool about the truck is it has a really, I'm gonna use this to point. If you look under here, we've got some tie-ins. We've got a green, we've got a few other colors. There should be 4 of them in here, yep. And it doesn't matter which color you pick, as long as you just remember which one you picked for which light. If not, you can always figure it out after the fact. But I'm just gonna stay consistent. And so we've got a little extra here, because really this is tied in nicely. It only has to reach right there. So I'm gonna trim this down a little bit. All right. And we just put our little heat shrink. All right, and we tuck that in there. Let's see. And some of you may yell at me, but I don't have a one of those connectors to put on here for the ground. So we're just gonna go in between. All right, jump in your truck and open your glove box. You push these 2 in. You guys will see if you look close. So on the right side here, I'm gonna point. There's these wires. See these right here with the little black tips? They're hanging down off this main green. Hopefully you can see that. But all of these are what you need to focus on right here. All right, quick update for you guys. This part is a pain in the butt. My hands are just beat up because you just really can't reach anything. So what you need to do is tie in the existing lines that came in with whatever switches you want to use. And so I looked on the forums. I mean, this will be easier than anything. Is the interior switches all have a certain color. So switch number 1, I want used for like the regular fogs, like not the yellow ones, but the white ones. So I need to find the yellow. I need to find the yellow wire for switch number 1, and then I need to remember. And then you guys might remember. So I need to grab yellow wire, and then the white ones were actually ran off of the green. So I need to connect yellow and green, which I just did with this connector right here. And then I'll do the same thing for switch number 2. So aux number 2 I want to have for second option, which would be like the yellow fog lights. So I need to find for the interior switch, really, interior switch will be green with the brown. And then I put in my notes here the blue, and then, so the blue is amber with yellow. So I need to tie it into this blue, which means green and brown connect to the blue. So hopefully there's a green and brown in here. I think this one down here has brown in it. So this is second switch, green and brown, and then there should be a blue one right here, which is the one I used. And so it's different for everyone. I mean, if you tied into the purple one, just connect this purple one here with whatever switch you want. And it's just color coded. So hopefully that makes sense. This is just really super annoying. Like the concept is really easy, but it's taken like a half an hour because I can't really reach anything. So be warned, kind of a pain. And I'm just using these because it's gonna be in the glove box. So it's not like it's in the actual engine bay. I just felt like it was a little bit easier. So that's the way I'm gonna go. All right, wire number 2 done. And obviously you can see we have one set of fog lights on right now. The center yellow ones. And we're gonna have to do a little bit of adjusting, but you guys can see if these weren't street legal, they wouldn't have such a sharp cutoff. So if I was behind someone, you can obviously tell that they have a nice cutoff there. And then we can do a little aiming, obviously probably not higher, if anything a little bit lower. Try to make them even and then go from there. So that is tied up nicely, I guess. At least that's what I'm gonna do. And then we can flip on the other switch. Which means we got another set running. So I like having both. We'll kind of see how things go. I mean, I'm planning on probably using the white ones more than anything, and then just put the yellow ones on if it's foggy. And I know online it's kind of a toss-up if people think that the yellow actually work better in the fog or not, but whatever. All right, and I turned the headlights on just so you guys can see what this looks like. It's a little probably a little over, whatever, a little exaggerated for the camera, but you can see how nice it is. So I'm planning on probably on a regular basis driving in this mode, which looks good. The white fogs are a little bit bluer than the headlights, so you know, I like them to match if possible, but they're pretty close. So just for fun, if we wanted to see what it would look like if I decided to run those like as daytime running lights or something like that, they can be on, obviously, just with the toggle switches, not with, the headlights don't have to be on. So anyways, we're gonna do some minor adjusting. Again, I didn't fully tighten these down, so I can move this, and you guys can see the, this obviously will move a bit. So I will work on doing that. All right guys, so that's gonna do it for this video. I beat my hands up so much, so just be ready for that, because you're gonna have to fit your hands in really tight spaces and try to twist stuff, and it just doesn't really work. So anyways, they look really sweet, and they're functional and street legal. So that was a really big thing for me, is spending all the money and just not being able to use them. So anyways, we're gonna get this thing cleaned up, put everything back together, and yeah, new look for the truck, a little bit more function, and yeah, I think it was a little long overdue. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys next time.